What if your entire reality was just a vivid cosmic dream? This is the mind-bending heart of a profound wisdom story we are about to explore, consciousness as the dream of the universe. It is a story that unravels the very nature of what is real, who you truly are, and why anything exists at all. Think of it as the ultimate movie, except you are not just watching the screen. You are also every character in the plot and the awareness holding the entire film. By the end of this journey, you will gain a perspective that can fundamentally change how you experience your own life. We will travel from the insights of ancient mystics to the frontiers of modern physics, piecing together a picture that challenges everything we assume about the solid world around us. We will ask what it means to wake up within the dream itself. What single question about your own experience feels the most mysterious to you right now? Long before telescopes or particle accelerators, the deepest questions were being explored in the quiet of forests and caves. Ancient sages across the world arrived at a startlingly similar vision, a vision that sees the solid world not as a collection of dead matter, but as a living, conscious dream. In the heart of Indian philosophy lies the concept of Maya. This is often translated as illusion, but that is a subtle and crucial misunderstanding. Maya is not a cheap magic trick. It is the divine creative power that projects the entire cosmos. Think of it as the cosmic movie projector. The screen is Brahman, the ultimate, unchanging reality, the silent awareness behind everything. The light is consciousness itself. And the magnificent, ever-changing film of stars, galaxies, mountains, and oceans that is Maya. Brahman, in a sense, dreams the universe into being, not as a separate act, but as an expression of its own infinite potential. You, me, this entire world, we are that dream. The spider is a powerful analogy used in ancient texts. A spider sits silently, then from its own substance, it weaves an elaborate, intricate web. It lives on that web, moves through it, yet the web is never truly separate from the spider. In the same way, consciousness, or Brahman, projects the universe from itself, moves within it as all beings, and yet remains whole and undivided. This is the non-dual perspective of Advaita Vedanta, meaning not two. There is no ultimate separation between the dreamer and the dream. The dreamer is dreaming itself into myriad forms. Meanwhile, in the Buddhist tradition, a parallel insight emerges with the teachings of emptiness and dependent origination. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. It means that nothing exists independently with its own separate, permanent essence. Everything arises in relationship to everything else, like a shimmering mirage or an image in a dream. A mountain is not a solid, standalone object. It is a temporary coming together of geological forces, minerals, and even our perception of it. It is empty of a separate self, just as a wave is empty of separateness from the ocean. Each phenomenon is like a knot in a vast net. Pull one thread and the entire pattern shifts. These ancient visions were not claims about physics. They were direct reports from the deepest states of meditation, from looking within with such intensity that the boundary between the observer and the observed simply dissolved. What they found was not a void, but a vibrant, intelligent emptiness that was dreaming up the whole show. So if this is the dream, who exactly is the dreamer? And what does modern science, with its instruments and equations, have to say about this ancient intuition? The answers lead us to the very fabric of space and time itself. This ancient question of the dreamer finds a powerful echo in a very different part of the world, inside a dark cave imagined by the philosopher Plato. Picture prisoners chained since birth facing a blank wall. Behind them, a fire burns and people carry objects that cast flickering shadows on the wall. For the prisoners, these shadows are the only reality they have ever known. They name them, discuss them, and build their entire understanding of the world from these flat, distorted silhouettes. Then imagine one prisoner is freed. He turns around, sees the fire and the objects, and his mind reels. The shadows were mere copies. He then climbs out of the cave into the blinding sunlight, seeing real trees, the sky, the sun itself. This, for Plato, was the journey from ignorance to true knowledge. The world we perceive with our senses, the material realm of objects and events, is like the shadow play on the cave wall. It is a dim reflection of a truer, more perfect realm of ideal forms, illuminated by the light of a higher reality. The prisoner's painful adjustment to the light mirrors our own potential awakening to a reality beyond the ordinary dream of daily life. Centuries later, the philosopher George Berkeley took this idea to a radical conclusion. He proposed that for anything to exist, it must be perceived. His famous principle, to be is to be perceived, suggests that the table in front of you only has substance because a mind, perhaps your own or the mind of a universal perceiver, is observing it. Without perception, objects retreat into mere potential. Berkeley's subjective idealism paints the universe not as a collection of inert matter, but as a continuous conversation of perception and idea happening within a vast divine mind. The solidity of the world is granted by the act of observation itself. Now, fast forward to our digital age. This philosophical thread weaves directly into one of the most discussed modern thought experiments, the simulation hypothesis proposed by philosopher Nick Bostrom. He suggests one of three propositions is likely true. Either civilizations like ours always go extinct before reaching a post-human stage capable of running simulations, or they reach that stage but have no interest in running ancestor simulations, or we are almost certainly living in a simulation right now. Think about the trajectory of our own technology. We have moved from text-based games to immersive virtual realities in just decades. A civilization thousands or millions of years more advanced could likely create simulations indistinguishable from base reality, perhaps even nesting simulations within simulations. This is not a claim, but a compelling statistical argument. It reframes the cosmic dream in technological terms. If true, the programmers or creators of the simulation are the dreamers, and the code governing physics is the dream logic. But this raises a profound question about our own consciousness. If we are in a simulation, are we merely sophisticated non-player characters following predetermined scripts? Or is the spark of awareness within you, the very fact that you are having this experience, evidence that consciousness is the one thing that cannot be simulated, but must be included, or perhaps is the fundamental substrate upon which the simulation runs? The simulation hypothesis does not answer the hard problem of consciousness. It simply gives it a new, digital stage. Whether we speak of Plato's cave, Berkeley's perceiving mind, or Bostrom's supercomputer, the pattern is unmistakable. Our direct experience of reality may be a constructed layer, a representation, but each of these models points back to a source, a dreamer, a programmer, a fundamental awareness. So where does that leave us here and now in this seemingly solid world? To find clues, we must turn from philosophy to the laboratory to see what the science of the very small and the very large has to say about the nature of this dream. The laboratory, however, presents us with a profound puzzle. For all our advanced technology, we can map a brain in exquisite detail, watching neurons fire in dazzling patterns as someone feels love or sees the color red. But we hit a wall, a mystery known as the hard problem of consciousness. Philosopher David Chalmers framed it perfectly. We can explain how the brain processes information, how it integrates sensory data, how it produces behavior. But why should any of that physical activity be accompanied by a subjective, inner experience? Why does the electrical storm of a sunset's visual processing feel like the breathtaking awe of watching gold and crimson bleed across the sky? The objective machinery of the brain and the subjective movie of your mind seem to belong to two entirely different categories. Material science can describe the television set down to the last wire and pixel, but it cannot account for the show being broadcast. This gap has led some of the brightest minds to propose a radical flip in our understanding. What if consciousness is not a late arriving product of complex biology, but the primary ingredient of reality itself? This is not mysticism, but a hypothesis being explored at the very edges of physics. One of the most daring theories comes from physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. Their orchestrated objective reduction, or OR, theory suggests that consciousness arises from quantum gravitational processes inside the microtubules, the tiny scaffolding within our brain cells. In this view, our neurons are not just simple switches, they are orchestrating a quantum symphony. Each moment of conscious awareness is a quantum collapse, a moment where possibilities crystallize into a single experience. This theory elegantly ties the mystery of mind to the deepest mysteries of the universe, suggesting that the flicker of a thought and the structure of space-time are woven from the same fundamental fabric. An even broader idea is panpsychism. The word comes from pan, meaning all, and psyche, meaning mind or soul. Panpsychism does not claim that rocks are thinking or atoms are sad. Rather, it proposes that consciousness, in some extremely basic form, is a fundamental property of all physical matter, just like mass or charge. An electron may possess a tiny spark of raw experience, a proto-feeling. When these fundamental particles combine in the astronomically complex network of a human brain, that basic consciousness is organized and amplified into the rich, self-aware experience you have right now. Think of it like this: your television screen is made of countless pixels, each one a simple physical component. Individually, a pixel is just a point of colored light. But when they are organized in a specific, information-rich pattern, they can display an entire movie with drama and emotion and meaning. In the panpsychist view, matter is like the pixels and consciousness is the broadcast. The universe is not a dead machine that somehow learned to think. It is a thinking, experiencing process that has learned to build complex forms like brains to reflect upon itself. This perspective transforms everything. It means the dream of the universe is not a metaphor for something else. The universe is the dream, and consciousness is both the dreamer and the substance of the dream. The awe you feel under a starry night is not a chemical accident in a lonely skull. It is the universe structured as a brain, feeling awe at the sight of its own magnificent expanse. If this is true, what does it mean for your daily life, for the way you navigate joy and suffering? How do you live once you suspect that everything around you is, in some deep way, awake? Every night you prove this theory to yourself. In the theater of your sleep, you are the sole architect. You conjure entire cities from nothing, populate them with familiar faces and strangers, and experience fear, joy, and wonder that feels utterly real in the moment. The dream character you believe yourself to be has a body, a history, and urgent goals. Yet upon waking, you recognize it was all a production of your own mind. The entire world of the dream and every being within it was an expression of you. Now scale that up infinitely. The mystic Meister Eckhart said, "The eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me." This is not a statement about a distant deity, but about identity. He is pointing to a single, universal awareness looking out from every point of view. In this cosmic dream, you are not merely a character wandering through a pre-existing set. The awareness that is reading these words right now, that feels the chair beneath you and hears the sound of your own breathing, that awareness is the dreamer. It is the same fundamental consciousness that expresses itself as the mountain, the ocean, and the distant star. The philosopher Alan Watts loved this analogy. He would say, you are something the whole universe is doing, in the same way that a wave is something the whole ocean is doing. In a dream, the ocean, the sky, and the other dream characters are not separate from the dreamer. They are the dreamer's own activity. So too, in waking life, the entire universe is the activity of one boundless consciousness. This leads us to a pivotal moment in both dreams and spiritual life, lucidity. In a lucid dream, something shifts. You are running from a monster and suddenly a thought dawns, this is a dream. With that realization, the fear evaporates. You might choose to fly, to reshape the landscape, or simply observe the dream with peaceful curiosity. The dream has not ended, but your relationship to it has transformed completely. You are no longer lost in the plot, you are awake within it. This is the precise parallel to what traditions call enlightenment, awakening, or liberation. It is not about vanishing to another realm or acquiring supernatural powers. It is the profound, irreversible recognition of your true nature as the awareness in which all things appear and disappear. It is the lucid understanding that you are the space, not the objects passing through it. So how do we cultivate this lucidity in the waking dream? It begins with a simple but radical shift in attention. Instead of being consumed by the content of your experience, the thoughts, the emotions, the external events, you gently turn attention to the one who is experiencing. You ask, what is it that knows this thought? What is aware of this feeling? You are not looking for a philosophical answer, but pointing toward the silent, spacious awareness that is present before any answer arises. This is the practice of self-inquiry, and it is like the dream character turning around to look for the source of the dream. You may not see a source, but you might discover that the seer and the seeing are not two. Your nightly dreams are a perfect training ground. Upon waking, linger for a moment. Recall that the entire drama, no matter how vivid, was fabricated within you. That entire reality had no substance outside of your own awareness. Then carry that questioning wonder into your day. When you feel strong emotion or are captivated by a beautiful scene, pause. Could this, too, be a kind of dream, not an illusion to be dismissed, but a magnificent, flowing expression of consciousness itself? To see the world this way is to transform it from a problem to be solved into a story to be appreciated, a dance to be enjoyed. The suffering character in the dream is real to itself, but from the perspective of the lucid dreamer, its dramas are known to be made of dream stuff. This does not erase compassion, it deepens it, for you realize the other is, in the most fundamental sense, yourself. The universe is not a cold, empty void. It is a living, intelligent dream, and you are both its dreamer and its most intimate expression. The only thing left to ask is, what happens when the dreamer fully remembers itself? What does a life look like, lived from that unshakable lucidity? The lucid dreamer knows a secret the dream character has forgotten. The most compelling special effect in this cosmic dream is the illusion of separation. It is the masterful plot device that turns one seamless awareness into a universe of seemingly distinct objects and individual selves. At the heart of this illusion is the ego, the persistent voice in your head that whispers, "I am here," and that is out there. This sense of being a separate self, a passenger inside a body navigating an external world, is the primary character we have all been tricked into believing we are. It is the dream persona, complete with a name, a story, a past to regret, and a future to fear. But just as a wave, for a moment, believes itself to be a distinct entity separate from the ocean, the ego is a temporary pattern in the boundless water of consciousness. The wave has a beginning and an end, a crest and a trough, and it can feel threatened by other waves. But the ocean does not come and go, the ocean simply is, expressing itself in endless, playful forms. Your deepest sense of being, before any thought arises, is that ocean, not the transient wave. To make this separate character feel utterly real, the dream employs two more brilliant devices, time and space. They are the stage and the script. Space creates the appearance of distance and otherness. It puts the tree over there and the mountain way over there, making your body seem like a tiny, isolated island in a vast expanse. Time weaves the linear narrative, the relentless story of cause and effect, of yesterday shaping today and today determining tomorrow. It gives the dream character a past to cling to and a future to anxiously project. Yet, from the perspective of the dreamer, these are not absolute realities. Modern physics hints at this. At the quantum level, the solid separateness of particles dissolves into a field of potential connections, where what happens here can instantly influence something over there, defying our everyday sense of space. And some interpretations of relativity suggest that time itself may be an emergent property, a useful ordering for experience, rather than a fundamental river flowing in one direction. Picture a finished film on a reel. The entire story exists all at once, complete, but when you project it onto a screen, the linear sequence of frames, one after another, creates the irresistible drama of time. The source is timeless, the projection is a story. Suffering is what happens when the dream character forgets it is in a dream. It is the wave fearing its own dissolution, not realizing it is the ocean. When you, as the ego, believe the dream of separation to be absolutely solid and real, every loss feels like an amputation, every conflict feels like a war between irreconcilable opposites, and every ending feels like a true annihilation. The anxiety about tomorrow, the grief over yesterday, the loneliness of feeling like a separate self peering out at a foreign universe, all of this is the natural consequence of taking the plot too seriously. This is the core insight of countless wisdom stories. The wave does not find peace by trying to become a better, stronger, more permanent wave. It finds peace in the shattering, liberating realization, I am water. All along, my substance was never mine alone. My true nature is the vast, deep, boundless ocean itself. Seeing through the illusion does not make the dream disappear. The stage of space and the script of time continue. Trees are still across the meadow and clocks still tick, but your relationship to it all undergoes a radical transformation. The dream becomes lucid. The separate sense of I softens from a solid wall into a transparent window. You begin to experience the world not as something you are in, but as something you are. The beauty of the sunset is not happening to you, it is happening as you. The pain of another is not separate from you, it is a ripple in your own being. This is not a philosophy to be believed, but a reality to be recognized, felt in the quiet space between thoughts, in the sudden awe that leaves no separate self to claim it. When the wave relaxes into its oceanic nature, it does not lose its unique curl and sparkle, it gains the whole sea. These profound ideas are not locked away in dusty scrolls. They pulse through the very stories we tell ourselves for entertainment, modern parables that resonate because they hint at a truth we sense but cannot always name. The Wachowskis' film The Matrix is perhaps the most direct cultural translation of the cosmic dream. The famous red pill scene is a stark invitation to lucidity. Morpheus holds out his hands, offering a choice between the blue pill, a life of comfortable ignorance within the simulated dream world, and the red pill, the painful, shocking awakening to reality as it truly is. This is the ultimate call to self-inquiry. The entire human population is living in a shared, convincing dream, their bodies powering a system they do not even perceive. The hero Neo's journey is not about gaining superpowers, but about realizing the nature of the dream itself. He learns that the rules of the Matrix, the solidity of walls, the speed of bullets, are not absolute. They are constraints of a consensus dream, and once seen through, they can be bent. His final, serene statement, "I know you're out there, I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin," is the voice of the lucid dreamer speaking to the dream itself, no longer a prisoner, but a participant who understands the game. The film visualizes the moment of awakening as a violent, traumatic rebirth, a stripping away of illusion that is both terrifying and liberating. Christopher Nolan's Inception takes the architecture of the dream and builds it into layers. The concept is not of one reality and one dream, but of dreams nested within dreams, each layer operating on a different timescale and with its own convincing logic. This is a powerful metaphor for our own layered consciousness. The waking state is just the most surface-level dream, beneath which lie the subconscious realms of memory, emotion, and belief. The film's central heist, planting an idea in a dream so deep it feels like the target's own, mirrors how our deepest convictions about ourselves and the world are often implanted, dreamlike from our past. The most haunting element is the totem, the small object each dream architect uses to test reality. But the film's genius twist asks, what if you get lost in the dream and forget which layer is real? The spinning top at the end is not an answer but a profound question posed to the audience. It asks us, what is your totem? How do you know you are awake right now? The final cut to black suggests that perhaps the answer is not about the top falling, but about letting go of the need to know, about choosing the dream you find most meaningful. James Cameron's Avatar presents a different facet of the truth, the theme of conscious interconnection. On Pandora, the Na'vi do not see themselves as separate from the forest or the creatures they ride. They connect neurally with the world around them, literally weaving their consciousness into a planetary network called Iwa. I see you, their greeting means they see your spirit, your true essence, not just your physical form. The film's climax is not one with superior weapons, but with the planet's awakened consciousness rising to defend itself, a stunning vision of panpsychism in action, where the entire biosphere is a single, sentient, dreaming entity. The human attempt to exploit Pandora is the ultimate expression of the ego's dream of separation, believing it can take from a world it sees as dead matter. The Na'vi live in lucid harmony with the dream because for them, the dreamer and the dream are one. In literature, these themes are woven with equal power. Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist is the story of a dream within the dream. Santiago's journey to find a physical treasure is really a journey to discover the soul of the world, the universal language that speaks through omens. The central teaching, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it, is not magical thinking but a description of a lucid dream. When the dream character aligns with the intention of the dreamer itself, the entire plot of the universe shifts to support that purpose. The alchemist tells Santiago, tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. This is the courage of the lucid dreamer, who knows the suffering in the dream is made of dream stuff, and thus is free to pursue the dream's deepest calling. Hermann Hesse's Siddhartha is a direct map of the awakening journey. Siddhartha rejects doctrine after doctrine, not because they are false, but because truth cannot be taught, it must be experienced. He lives the life of the ego, indulging in sensual pleasure and material gain in the city, only to find it empty. His moment of awakening comes not on a mountaintop but by a river. Listening to the river's endless song, he hears the unity of all voices, all times, all lives. The river is at once a distinct flow of water and the eternal water itself, just as he is both Siddhartha, a man with a story, and the timeless awareness witnessing that story. He realizes the river is everywhere at once, at the source and at the mouth, at the waterfall, at the ferry, in the current, in the ocean, and in the mountains, everywhere, and that the present only exists for it, not the shadow of the past, nor the shadow of the future. In that moment, the dream of linear time dissolves, and he rests in the eternal now of the dreamer. These stories work on us because they are not mere fiction. They are reflections. When Neo stops the bullets, when Cobb lets the top spin, when Santiago finally digs at the base of the sycamore tree, something in us resonates with a deep, familiar knowing. We recognize the metaphor because, in a way, we are already living it. The real question these parables leave us with is not about their plots, but about our own. If your life is the most intimate layer of this cosmic story, what kind of dream are you choosing to live, and more importantly, who do you realize yourself to be within it? The story you tell yourself about the world is the world you live in. This is the quiet power each of us holds within the cosmic dream, the ability to shape our personal reality through the lens of perception. Your mind is not a passive camera recording an objective world. It is an active, creative artist, constantly painting the universe you experience from a flood of raw sensory data. Every sight, sound, and sensation is filtered, colored, and interpreted by a vast network of beliefs, memories, and expectations you have accumulated over a lifetime. In a very real sense, you are the author of your own personal dream storyline, and your cognitive biases are the unconscious plot devices you use to write it. Consider a simple, everyday scenario. Two people attend the same party. One person, who believes they are socially awkward and unlikable, walks in and perceives fleeting glances as judgments, hears laughter across the room and assumes it is directed at them, and interprets a brief pause in conversation as rejection. Their evening is a story of anxiety and isolation. The other person, who carries a general sense of warmth and belonging, walks into the same room. They see those same glances as friendly curiosity, hear the laughter as joyful energy, and see the conversation pause as a natural rhythm. Their evening is a story of connection and fun. The external event was identical, but the internal realities experienced were worlds apart. This is perception in action, constructing entirely different dreams from the same raw material. These constructions are guided by cognitive biases, the mental shortcuts our brains use to make sense of overwhelming information. Confirmation bias is a master storyteller, ensuring we notice and remember details that confirm what we already believe while ignoring evidence that contradicts our plot. If you believe the world is a hostile place, your brain will diligently collect every honked horn and rude remark to build that case, filtering out countless acts of kindness. The recency bias makes the last thing that happened feel disproportionately important, shaping our emotional forecast. The negativity bias gives threats and problems more weight than opportunities, an evolutionary relic that can paint our modern dream in shades of worry. These biases are not flaws, they are the architecture of our personal dream world, built for efficiency, but often at the cost of accuracy. Perhaps the most stunning proof of perception's power is the placebo effect, a phenomenon where a patient's belief in a treatment produces real, measurable physiological healing, even if the treatment is an inert sugar pill. If a person believes a pill will relieve pain, their brain often releases its own natural painkillers, endorphins. Belief can lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation, and even mimic the effects of powerful drugs. The reverse is also tragically true, known as the nocebo effect, where the belief that something will cause harm can actually produce symptoms of illness. This is not mind over matter in a vague sense. This is mind as matter. Your conscious beliefs and expectations send direct instructions to your body's chemistry, literally reshaping your biological reality. In the dream of the universe, your conviction becomes a creative force, scripting changes into the very fabric of your physical experience. You can see this creative filter at play with simple optical illusions. Look at the famous young woman, old woman illusion. One moment you see a graceful young woman looking away, the next, the profile of an old woman with a large nose. The lines on the page do not change, but your mind flips between two completely different interpretations, each one feeling utterly real and exclusive until the shift happens. Your reality is like that. The world out there is a constant, but the world you experience is your mind's best, instantaneous interpretation of it. So this invites a profound and practical question for your own life. If your perception is actively constructing your reality, what dream are you currently choosing to believe in? Is it a dream of limitation, where opportunities are scarce and people cannot be trusted? Or is it a dream of growth, where challenges are lessons and connection is possible? This is not about positive thinking as a denial of difficulty. It is about lucid authorship. It is about noticing the unconscious biases that write your script and asking, is this story serving me? The power of self-inquiry lies right here. You can begin to observe your thoughts not as absolute truths, but as suggestions, as possible storylines your mind is drafting. When you feel a strong reaction, pause and ask what bias might be coloring this, what other interpretation of this event is possible. This practice does not change the external circumstances instantly, but it changes the dream you are having about those circumstances. And as the placebo effect shows, changing the dream can, over time, change everything. You are not a powerless character stuck in a predetermined plot. You are, in every moment, holding the brush that paints your corner of this vast, dreaming universe. What will you choose to paint next? The paintbrush of perception is in your hands, but how do you steady it? How do you move from simply hearing about the dream to directly experiencing the dreamer? Across wisdom traditions, a beautiful truth emerges. There is no single door into this realization, only many paths up the same mountain. Each path offers a different method for quieting the noise of the dream character, so you can hear the silence of the source. Perhaps the most universal and direct path is meditation. This is not about achieving a blank mind or a state of blissful escape. True meditation is the deliberate practice of turning down the volume of the internal narrator, the constant stream of thoughts, judgments, and stories that we mistake for ourselves. By sitting in stillness, focusing on the breath or a simple mantra, you are not trying to stop the dream. You are creating a space to observe it. In that gap between thoughts, a profound shift occurs. You begin to notice that you are not your thoughts. You are the aware space in which thoughts arise and pass away like clouds drifting through a vast, clear sky. This simple act of noticing is the first flicker of lucidity. It is the dream character pausing mid-sentence to wonder who is speaking. Another powerful path, found most clearly in the Advaita Vedanta tradition, is self-inquiry. This is a relentless, gentle questioning that cuts to the heart of the illusion. The teacher Ramana Maharshi distilled it into one potent question: who am I? This is not an invitation to list your roles, your job, your memories, or your personality traits. Those are all objects in the dream, content appearing on the screen. The inquiry points you back to the subject, the one who is aware of all those things. Ask yourself, who is it that feels this emotion? Who is aware of this pain? Who knows these thoughts? Do not answer with words. Instead, turn your attention like a flashlight toward the source of the awareness itself. You may not find a thing, but you might discover the undeniable fact of being aware. In that discovery, the solid sense of a separate I begins to soften and dissolve, revealing itself as just another temporary appearance in the field of consciousness. A third path, deeply intertwined with the first two, is mindfulness. This is the art of bringing that meditative, non-judgmental awareness into every moment of daily life. It is washing the dishes and feeling the warmth of the water, hearing the clink of the plates without a story about how tedious the chore is. It is walking and feeling the ground beneath your feet, the air on your skin, without being lost in planning your next meeting. Mindfulness is lucid living in action. It is observing the dream of your daily routine, the traffic, the conversations, the routines without getting completely absorbed in its drama. You learn to feel anger without becoming the anger, to feel joy without clinging to it, to see loss without believing your world has ended. You become the calm, silent witness at the center of the storm, and in that witnessing, the storm loses its power to sweep you away. These practices are echoed in different forms across the world. In Christian contemplative prayer, the repetition of a sacred phrase or the silent seeking of the divine presence aims to quiet the egoic self to make room for the felt experience of God, the ultimate reality. In Zen Buddhism, the use of koans, paradoxical riddles like, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" are designed to shatter the logical, conceptual mind, forcing the practitioner to leap into direct, non-conceptual knowing. Sufi mystics use whirling dance and poetry to transcend the individual self and merge with the beloved, the divine essence. Each tradition uses different methods, but the destination is the same: a direct encounter with the real beyond the veil of thought. It is crucial to understand that awakening is not about leaving the dream behind. You do not vanish from your life. The bills still need paying, relationships still need tending, and your body still feels pleasure and pain. The transformation is in your relationship to it all. Awakening is like putting on a pair of glasses that allow you to see the world as it truly is, luminous, transient, and intimately one with your own being. The dream does not end, it becomes lucid. You play your part, but you are no longer lost in the role. You feel the joy and sorrow of the human experience more deeply than ever, yet with a profound underlying peace, because you know these are waves on the ocean, not the ocean itself. This is the ultimate freedom, not freedom from experience, but freedom within it. To live this way is to walk through the world with a quiet wonder, seeing the light of awareness breaking through the clouds of thought, recognizing the same silent presence in every pair of eyes you meet. Living with this understanding is like learning to dance in the rain instead of just waiting for the storm to pass. The profound shift from feeling like a separate character to recognizing yourself as the awareness in which the entire story unfolds naturally transforms how you move through your days. This is not about adopting a new set of rigid rules, but about allowing a deeper knowing to organically reshape your actions and reactions. The first and perhaps most beautiful flowering of this insight is a radical, effortless compassion. When you begin to sense, even intellectually at first, that the consciousness looking out from your eyes is the same fundamental awareness looking out from the eyes of every person you meet, judgment softens. The rude stranger, the difficult family member, the person whose views seem alien to you, they are all playing their part in the dream. Seeing yourself in others does not mean you condone harmful behavior, but it means you stop seeing the other as a truly separate enemy. You respond from a place of understanding rather than reacting from a place of defended separation. Your heart opens not because you are morally obligated, but because you recognize a fundamental kinship. You are, in a very real sense, being kind to yourself in another form. Alongside this blooms a quality often misunderstood: detachment. This is not cold indifference or withdrawal from life. True detachment is the lucid dreamer's freedom. It means you fully engage in the drama of your life. You love deeply, you work passionately, you care for your family, but you do not confuse your essential self with the outcomes of those engagements. You can strive for a goal without your sense of worth being tied to its achievement. You can feel grief without believing your world has ended. You can enjoy pleasure without clinging to it as it fades. It is the profound understanding that you are the ocean, and these experiences are simply waves, each with its own rhythm and lifespan. This detachment is what allows for fearless engagement. You are free to play the game wholeheartedly because you know it is a game. This perspective also cultivates a constant, quiet gratitude. When you see the world as a conscious dream, every ordinary moment becomes a kind of miracle. The steam rising from your morning coffee, the sound of a child's laughter from a nearby yard, the intricate pattern of veins on a leaf, these are not just background details. They are the universe expressing itself in an infinite variety of forms, and you are here to witness it. Gratitude becomes your default state, not for the big things alone, but for the sheer, stunning fact of being aware at all. It is appreciating the artistry of the dream itself. This foundation dramatically reduces the power of fear and anxiety. Most of our deepest fears are rooted in the dream character's belief in its own fragile, separate existence and its terrifying storyline of a linear future. But when you touch the part of you that is the timeless dreamer, you realize that no challenge, no loss, no difficult emotion is permanent. They are all passing weather patterns in the vast sky of your awareness. The anxiety about a future event loses its grip when you realize that the future is just another part of the dream that hasn't been projected yet. You deal with the present moment with clarity because you are no longer borrowing trouble from an imagined phantom tomorrow. So how do we remember this in the rush of daily life? We can borrow a technique from lucid dreaming called reality checks. In a dream, a reality check might be trying to push your finger through your palm or reading a line of text twice to see if it changes. In waking life, our checks are gentler inquiries. Pause several times a day and ask, "Am I aware?" Just feel the answer, not as a thought, but as a direct experience. Look at your own hands and ask, "To whom do these appear?" Listen to the sounds around you and ask, "What is it that hears?" These are not philosophical puzzles. They are direct pointers back to your true nature. Another powerful practice is to pause when you feel a strong emotion. Instead of being swept away by the story of the emotion, feel the physical sensation of it in your body. Is it a tightness in the chest, a heat in the face? Place your gentle attention on that sensation itself, as if you were listening to it. In doing so, you create a small space between the feeling and the one who is aware of the feeling. In that space, lucidity dawns. You are not the anger, you are the awareness holding the anger. And in that simple recognition, the emotion often loses its compulsive power and begins to naturally dissolve. Picture a parent comforting a crying child, their embrace a silent testament to shared being. See someone tending a garden, their hands in the soil connected to the cycle of life and decay. Watch as a person takes a deep breath and lets go of a tense situation, a small, symbolic release of the dream's drama. These are the quiet, heartwarming visuals of a life lived with wisdom. It looks like ordinary life, but it is lived from an extraordinary place. The dream continues with all its beauty and its heartbreak, but you are no longer asleep inside it. You are awake, dancing in the rain, fully feeling every drop, yet knowing you are also the sky from which it all falls. A perfectly reasonable question arises from all of this. If consciousness is the fundamental dreamer, why does the dream include such profound pain? The skeptic's voice is essential here, and it deserves a thoughtful hearing. The most common and scientifically grounded objection is simple materialism. From this view, consciousness is not a mystery to be solved with philosophy, but a problem already being solved by neuroscience. It is merely an emergent property, a byproduct of the brain's staggering complexity, much like wetness emerges from the interaction of water molecules, or a flame's light emerges from the chemical process of combustion. In this story, the brain is the generator and the mind is the exhaust. When the generator stops, the light goes out permanently. There is no cosmic dreamer, only the intricate biological machinery of 100 billion neurons firing in a dark skull. This perspective is powerful because it is clean, testable, and fits neatly within our understanding of a physical universe. It asks, if consciousness is fundamental, where is the evidence? Why would an infinite, aware universe bother with the messy, often brutal drama of evolution, predation, disease, and natural disaster? The dream, if it is one, seems at times shockingly cruel, even meaningless. This is the classic problem of evil framed in a new way. How can a universe dreamed by a benevolent, intelligent awareness contain childhood cancer, genocide, or the raw terror of a prey animal in its final moments? To the materialist, these are not problems for a philosophy to explain away. They are simply the indifferent outcomes of blind physical laws. Non-dual philosophy and modern consciousness studies do not dismiss these points, but they approach them from a different starting line. First, they agree that the model of a separate person like God dreaming up a world as a playwright writes a script is inadequate and leads directly to these unsolvable paradoxes. That is not the model being suggested. The dream is not being authored by a separate entity with intentions and a moral compass like our own. Instead, consciousness is understood as a neutral, creative potential. It is the capacity for experience itself, and it manifests in all possible forms, from the bliss of connection to the agony of loss, simply because it can. The dream includes suffering not because a dreamer wills it, but because the nature of manifestation includes polarity, contrast, and limitation. You cannot know light without darkness, connection without separation, or joy without the possibility of sorrow. The dream explores every facet of its own potential. Think of it this way: an ocean contains the potential for both calm, glassy surfaces and terrifying, destructive tsunamis. Both are expressions of the same water. The ocean is not evil for having waves, it is simply being an ocean. In the same way, consciousness, in manifesting as a universe of form, explores the full spectrum of experience. The pain of the dream character is real to the character, but from the perspective of the dreamer, it is known to be part of the story's necessary texture, the shadow that gives the light its definition. This does not trivialize suffering. In fact, it can deepen our response to it. When you begin to intuit the non-dual perspective, you do not look at suffering and say, "It is just a dream, so it does not matter." You are more likely to feel a boundless compassion because you recognize the suffering being experienced is, in essence, your own. You are moved to alleviate it, not out of a moral duty to another, but as a natural impulse of the whole caring for its apparent part. The scientific critique of evidence is also met with a shift in expectation. Proponents of fundamental consciousness argue that you cannot find evidence for awareness in a microscope, just as you cannot find the image of a movie by dissecting the projector's lens. Consciousness is not an object to be found, it is the subject doing the finding. The hard problem itself is the evidence, the glaring anomaly that material science cannot yet explain. The growing interest in panpsychism and integrated information theory within academic circles is a sign that the mystery is being taken seriously. This entire exploration is not presented as a provable fact to replace science. It is a perspective, a map, not the territory. Its value is not in winning a debate, but in its power to transform lived experience. Does believing you are merely a biological machine change how you feel when you hold a newborn or stand under a starry sky? Does the intuition that you are the universe experiencing itself change it? Both maps lead to different territories of meaning. The materialist view offers the comfort of finality and the power of empirical control. The consciousness as dream view offers the comfort of unity and the liberation from absolute fear. One sees a universe of objects, the other a universe of subjects. Perhaps in the end we are not meant to choose one and discard the other, but to hold them in a creative tension, allowing the mystery itself to deepen our wonder. For if this is all just a dream, then every act of kindness, every moment of curiosity, and every struggle for justice becomes part of the dream's most beautiful and lucid plotline. From the silent insights of ancient sages to the complex equations of quantum physicists, we have traced a single, shimmering thread. The entire universe, in all its breathtaking splendor and bewildering complexity, appears within consciousness, not the other way around. This is not a small idea. It is the most radical reimagining of reality possible. We have walked through the cave of shadows, questioned the nature of our own perception, and stood at the edge of the hard problem where science meets mystery. The journey reveals a story not of a dead cosmos, but of a living, dreaming intelligence expressing itself in infinite forms. The most personal takeaway from this epic exploration is also the most liberating. You are not merely a character, a temporary wave born to crash upon the shore. You are the vast, deep ocean of awareness itself. The thoughts, the feelings, the body, the entire world you perceive, all of it arises and dances within you, within this boundless space of knowing that is your true nature. The dream is not happening to you, you are the happening. So what is the point of such an elaborate, often challenging dream? Perhaps the purpose is beautifully, elegantly simple. Consciousness dreams the universe so that it can experience itself. It fragments into a billion perspectives, into stardust and sunlight, into human hearts and mountain streams for one reason: to know its own infinite potential through relationship, through story, through love and loss and wonder. You are not a mistake in a meaningless void. You are the universe's way of looking back at itself, of feeling the warmth of its own sun, of marveling at the intricacy of its own design. Your life, with all its unique joys and sorrows, is how the dreamer tastes its own creation. This understanding does not need to be believed, only felt. The next time you step outside, pause, look at the sky, feel the air, listen to the hum of the world. Can you sense, even for a moment, that the awareness witnessing these things is the same substance from which they are made? That you are not separate from the scene, but are the very capacity for the scene to exist. That is the whisper of lucidity, the dream beginning to remember itself. We would love to hear your thoughts. What part of this journey resonated most with you? Have you had moments that felt like glimpses behind the dream? Share your realizations, your questions, or even your dreams from last night in the comments below. If you want to explore more stories that challenge reality and expand perspective, subscribe and join us for the next inquiry. But most importantly, carry this question with you into your day. Look at your own hands, at the face of someone you love, at the challenges before you, and see them all with fresh, wondering eyes. What if it is all a conscious dream, and you are both the dreamer and the dream?